All right, welcome back. Welcome back to this is what we call Ask Me Anything Sunday session. Wait for a while. I just want to make sure that am I actually going live on all platforms. As you probably know, Melon app failed on me last entire week, and I spoke to them. You know what they actually told us? In fact, one of a server. They say one of a their server actually stopped audience or so-called stop users from going live. And I was like, what? And they have no idea until somebody actually responded, and me being one of them. All right. So that happens. Sometimes, when you depend too much on technology, then that's the challenge. That's why if you are planning to go on content creation, in fact, I've been advocating about content creation in the past many months. If, in my opinion, any business, if you want to get yourself ready for Web 3.0, you got to get into the content game because audiences are, your consumers are getting smarter, and eventually the technology is going to evolve. And as we evolve as well, as user behavior evolve as well, people demand something more authoritative, and they would actually know how to make their own choice based on information that you present to them. And in order to start building content to support your whatever that you are actually trying to put out in the market, I think it's quite important for you to start doing the content game. You see, the other day I was just having a discussion with one of my, like fellow digital marketers. They were asking me, what's the difference between Web 2.0 and Web 3.0, and essentially, is it okay to start right away on, Web 3.0, ignoring Web 2.0? In fact, there is a confusion here. In my opinion, Web 2.0 and Web 3.0, when it comes to essentially marketing, is pretty much the same. It's all digital, as in like, it's just the differences in terms of platform, in terms of what do we call the technology behind it and all that. If you my simple short answer to this thing here is, if you can't do well in Web 2.0, you are not ready for Web 3.0. But if you're doing well in Web 2.0, you're actually preparing yourself for Web 3.0. It's just part of the evolution. Remember, we talk about Web 1.0. It was the time where, websites are static. It's like single pages and everything, and those people who can, game the SEO game, as those people who know how to play the SEO game would eventually thrive at that point of time. And eventually, Web 2.0 was the time where social network became a thing. Like everybody can actually become a publisher, everybody can become a content creator. That's the time where, bigger companies like Facebook, Google, they rose into dominance because they were the ones who actually controls the platforms. But moving forward, as the decentralization of Web 3.0 is taking place, there are more and more fragmentation when it comes to platforms, when it comes to technologies, and people will actually flock to places where like-minded gathers and all that. So I think, in my opinion, for those who are ready, who are already doing well, you should be okay. But if basically it doesn't make a difference whether you want to start 3.0 or 2.0, the whole idea here is, if you want to start building a brand for yourself or your company, you're going to start working on the content right now. So that's my take. All right, I've been talking a lot about Web 3.0. In fact, this is the topic that among our peers we have been discussing. Like the other day, I was just having a discussion with Nizar. He is also very passionate about Web 3.0. He is going to meet more people who are really specialized in this area, especially on the technology side. So whenever he's ready, we're going to bring him back. But if you missed our last week's Tree Marketer show, in the last Wednesday, you got to go back to that, because Nizar shared with us Google Data Studio. It's mind blowing. I mean, seriously, you have no idea how powerful this thing is, especially agency people. I'm urging anyone who is running an agency, because one of the biggest pain we have, I used to have that pain, but I no longer have it because I'm no longer running an agency. But as we all know, running an agency, the biggest challenge is to do report. Reporting is a pain in the bloody ass. So how do you actually do that in the most effective way? Turns out, Google Data Studio allows you to do that in a very beautiful, interactive, and powerful way. So go over and take a look at what Nizar shared in the last Tree Marketer show. and just take a look at it. So now, if you're new to this, if this is the first time we meet, thank you so much for joining me, whether you're listening to the podcast or watching the replay, or you just stumble upon this thing out of nowhere, or if you're watching this live as well. Thank you so much for joining Ask Me Anything Sunday. Let me bring this up. So Ask Me Anything Sunday is my regular Sunday routine where I go live every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Malaysia time to answer questions that I get from through all my social media channels, be it on YouTube, on Facebook, or those who actually drop me message on Instagram, Facebook. Well, I don't really prefer Instagram. I mean, seriously, I'm not really good at managing all these so-called communications. In fact, that's the reason why I do live like this, because I prefer not to answer your questions directly, because it would actually get engaged into, like back and forth kind of like text exchange, which is not very meaningful in my opinion. The best way for me to answer your question is to do verbally, or over here via live sessions like this, so that I'm able to address in a more meaningful way, to give you more examples and all that. So if you drop any questions, remember to come back to this Ask Me Anything Sunday to get my answers to your questions. All right, so as usual, before we start, so basically, if you want to ask any questions, just pop your questions, especially on YouTube channel and everywhere else, and I'm going to gather back onto this, like weekly session, AMA session, to answer your questions. Now, as usual, before we jump right into the questions that I've gathered, I have 5 questions today. So if you're watching this live, you have any questions, feel free to pop in the comment. I'm just gonna come over and bring them up, especially if you're watching this live. I'm gonna bring them up and answer questions. Now, before we start, I just want to give a quick shout out for everyone who have not been listening to my podcast. I think you should, because this is where I share more in-depth, short snippets about Facebook advertising, digital marketing, and anything that is surrounding. Because I'm actually doing this as like sort of my like daily journaling kind of thing, voice journaling, I call that. Well, because every day we do different things. Especially for me, I do a lot of coaching sessions. I talk to a lot of people, so I learn a lot on a daily basis. So from what I learn, well, I would usually pick a topic to talk about every night before I go to sleep. So basically, this is where I share short clips. So I just want to quickly walk through about some of the topics that we discussed since last AMA. So basically, the AMA will be published as one of the episodes, usually on Sunday. That's when I take a break. So after the AMA, as you can see on the episode 54, I was talking about 2 Facebook ads creative and copywriting mistakes to avoid. Now, this is a juicy one. If you run ads on Facebook, you definitely want to come in and look at what are the ad creative and copywriting mistakes. 2 of them I discussed. In fact, there are more. But then again, in this short 8 minutes clip, I shared 2 major mistakes, or fatal mistakes that you must avoid at all costs. And in episode 55, I discuss about the differences between automatic placements and manual placements. For those who run ads on Facebook, this is really where you choose where to show your ad. But there's always a debate whether, should we go manual or should we go auto? What's the reason why you choose one over another? This is where I share my thoughts. I have my own way of choosing placements, and I also share with you what are the Facebook's preferences. Facebook would say that you probably want to keep 4 at least, placement in order to optimize for appearances, and to actually keep your CPM down, to reach more people, to get more results. That's the usual thing. So 56, which is the one that I posted yesterday, I talk about when it comes to audience targeting, should you go broad or narrow? This is a very debatable topic, whether you want to go broad, as in like, this is really what Facebook is advocating for the past few months right now. In fact, years already. They've been telling you that you go broad, it's going to help the campaign to grow faster, to learn faster. And but there are still certain school of thought that prefers to go that narrow. Like the other day, I was just looking at auditing one of a campaign. They went super narrow. I mean, they were choosing one detailed targeting per ad set, and they were like breaking it into 10 or 20 of them. So this is where I share with you my thoughts. So if you haven't listened to them, go over. It's free to listen, where you can listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's all there, right? So this is just a quick one. And this is the QR code for you to scan and choose the platform that you choose to, listen to this one. Okay. All right. I have 5 questions. I'm just going to quickly go through them. While in the meantime, you guys can pop your questions in the comment, and I'll bring them up. Today is Wesak Day. So those Buddhist friends, happy Wesak Day. And yeah, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of people having prayers and celebrations. It's one of the, this is the beautiful thing about Malaysia, where we celebrate all basically festives. It's quite interesting. We just finished celebrating Raya, long break, right? And now we're back. Hopefully everybody is getting back to work right now, because yeah, it's about time, right? The second half of the year is starting and the world is quite chaos right now. Basically, a lot of things happened in the last 1 week or two. So yeah, it's time to have fun. Now, let's go to the first question that we have from Inter Top 10. So Inter Top 10 posted this comment on my video about Facebook Pixel versus Conversion API. In this video, I was talking about the differences between Facebook Pixel and Conversion API. And in fact, they are both the same thing. I mean, it's just different implementation. So basically, Facebook Pixel, as we all know it, it is actually a string of code that you can place on your website, and it helps you to gather information to help you measure success of your Facebook ads campaign. We used to do it. We used to use pixel data to do sort of analytical tool as part of an analytical tool that we use to measure, our website performance and stuff. But we stopped doing that because since the iOS 14.5 update, the attribution part has been missing, and we lost a lot of data. So basically, we're just using Pixel to attribute to make sure that we are getting the right reported results in our ads manager. So in order to improve the so-called the attribution and the tracking, then Facebook started to push Conversion API, which is actually just another application of Pixel. So Pixel is to install in your website. Basically, what we usually do is, like, let's say, for example, if you're using WordPress, so you install Facebook Pixel on WordPress. So it's in the content management system. So you just put it, you're using normal code insertion, so it's going to get in there. But Conversion API is server level application. So you got to install certain string of code onto your server. So instead of just getting info from your Pixel, which is on your browser side, they will also get data from the server side to match. So they are fundamentally tied back to the same Pixel ID, or it's the same Pixel ID. So there are different application of server. This is a little bit more complex, but if you're using things like Shopify, WordPress, and those more popular content, or so-called the content management website builder, it's definitely a lot easier for you to implement. But if you want to do this on your own, if you're not part of the, let's say, you're not using WordPress and whatnot, you probably need your developers' help to do this. So fundamentally, it's in the top 10 was saying you can have both, but when you're running ads, you will be only able to select one. You think, I will have to say that you are wrong, because when you're running ads, essentially you're choosing one Facebook pixel. All right, you're choosing one Facebook pixel to apply the attribution and all that. Basically, this is the one that you're using. Let's say if you're driving website to abc.com, of course, you're going to use pixel installed on abc.com. So when you choose the pixel, they are going to trigger both Conversion API and Facebook pixel. So basically, remember, these are not two different things. It's just one thing, but two different two different installation. As in, like, one is installed at the server, the other one is installed at the the browser level. So it will trigger. So eventually, if one is not reporting, one is not being triggered correctly, the other one will come back and at least to capture the data. You won't miss a lot of things in between, because we know that there could be some discrepancy in terms of the number reporting and all that. They may not be 100% accurate, but then again, because you have both Pixel and Conversion API, it helps you to at least capture the more accurate level of data coming back to your campaign to attribute the success of your campaign. So that's how I would look at this. Basically, in my opinion, if you ask me, should you apply either Pixel or Conversion API, I would say if you can, apply both. yeah, I mean, that will be the best scenario to make sure that you're not missing any data. All right, so that's for in the top 10. Then the next question is coming from, I'm so sorry I can't read your name because I'm not sure what language is this, but then again, this is a comment posted on my video about publishing Facebook ads to Facebook page. You see, this is the thing. Not all the time we're gonna use whatever we are posted on our Facebook page to run ad. Like usually, if you do that, that will mean you boost a post. But if you are creating an ad in Ads Manager, usually those ads are dark posts. You know, at one point we call them dark posts, but they are unpublished posts, which means these ads or so-called these posts created as an advertisement are not publicly posted on your Facebook page. I mean, the idea here is very simple. When we're running ads, essentially we might be using baits, promos, discounts, or whatnot to actually get people to take action. So we may not want to show the same content to those who have already liked our Facebook page. So essentially, that's the differences. So basically, if you want to post a certain advertisement back onto your Facebook page, I mean, there are several reasons to do that. One is probably you want to share the same promo to the audience as well. Also, the other one is probably you want to also grow some organic engagement on the post itself to probably help you, like boost the performance of your advertisement. One way or another, it might affect the performance, the outcome. So if you want to do that, basically, there is a way to publish your post, so-called your ad, to your page as a post. But my friend came back and said that, is there a way to make it this in 2022? And it's not working right now. I mean, it got me puzzled as well. So basically what we did was I went in and I actually tried the same thing. You can still do that. So all you need to do is you go into your, either you go in through the Ads Manager, or you can actually go in through the Business Manager level and then click on this hamburger, which is the 3-stroke, and go for all tools, go all the way down. Then you'll be seeing this engage customers, and there is this page post option. So I'm going to open it as a new tab. If you're listening to the podcast, you just need to go back to the video version of this. But then again, you can go into your Business Manager and look for page poses. So when you go into page poses, well, if you have two, so what do we call the, I don't know what's this. So let me actually log in first. So that's that. So when you go in, then you'll be able to see the content management panel of your Facebook Business Manager or the Facebook page. Now, in fact, right, Facebook now is really pushing Facebook Business Suite, something that really confuses people between Business Suite and Business Manager. In fact, I actually started playing on both. It's quite interesting. So now, let's say, for example, if you come into the page posts, this is your content management panel. You can still see published posts, scheduled posts, and most importantly, the ad posts on the left sidebar. So you go into the ad posts, then you'll be seeing all the ads created. So I don't have recent ad on Travel Academy, so I probably will just go into Jason, but I don't think it's important. So this is where you will see all the ad. All right. So let's say if you choose one of them, okay. So choose one of the ad. By checking the, the checkbox at the front. And then there will be a post detail. You'll be seeing the post preview and all that. On the top right, you will see there is an action button. So you click on it, you have the choice to publish, schedule, delete, or create ads. So it's the same thing. Nothing changed, my friend. I hope you're actually navigating to the right place. So if you choose publish, then it will go live on your Facebook page right away, without needing to do anything extra. So that's how you can publish your Facebook ad to your Facebook page as a regular post. So this is how you do that. All right. So I'm just going to come back to this question from our friend. So this is how you do it in 2022. It's the same as how we do it in 2021 or 2020 or even earlier. So just go ahead and try again. If you still have some challenges, then probably you can actually trigger a ticket to your, the Facebook concierge service to see whether if they are able to help you with anything like that. All right. So that's the second question. Now the third one over here is Keaton. Keaton was commenting on my video about TikTok and Facebook ad strategy. This is my recent video. I actually posted this, I think, about less than a week ago. So this is where I shared, in fact, if you're running ads on TikTok, right, you can actually use I'm just imagining, right? If you're actually running ads on TikTok, you'll be driving people to your website. So because TikTok retargeting may not be as effective right now because of the certain audience development is not as robust as what Facebook has. So my simple strategy was you can use TikTok to drive audience as the first top tier people to come in, because I was told it's in a way cheaper to run ads on that platform because they are lesser competitors. And the second thing is, once they've landed on your website, you can actually use Facebook or Instagram ads to retarget them. Because I'm assuming that if you're on TikTok, you should be also active on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, who doesn't, right? So we just want to create a more seamless and integrated advertising journey to make sure that we are capturing the right intent. So basically, Keaton was commenting that he said, great channel. Thank you for that. I hope these tips is useful. But the reason why I bring this up is not to brag, but I want to also share with you my recent experiment. You see, I'm not sure whether you follow my podcast. I talk about this on my podcast. I think about 2 weeks ago, I started doing experiment posting TikTok videos. I mean, it's a 1 minute, within a minute. Those videos are within a minute. I actually created 30 videos to actually post this for 30 days. But in fact, in between, I got busy and with the stuff going on, and I was not really as regular as daily per se right now. But then again, we might be next week. We're gonna go back to the regular schedule that we're gonna do it on a daily basis. So what I observed here is because as we were creating this like vertical video that is perfectly built for TikTok, and I did it with some subtitle running it and all that. I was sharing tips, short tips within a minute. So since I created those videos, I was also posting on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. So in all three places, the way I've observed it right now here is for this kind of content, because what I do is not a dancing kind of video. I was actually doing a lot of like Facebook ads related tips. So what I observed is TikTok is not really giving me a lot of exposure, probably because I was not posting regular enough. The view is not great, and it's not really growing very well right now as of 6 videos down right now. And YouTube is the same. Maybe I didn't do it correctly with the text, with the keywords and all that, because I was not doing as how I post my normal YouTube videos on a daily basis, where I actually spend a lot more time to do the optimization in terms of the subject, the descriptions and stuff. For TikTok videos, I did not. I just put it up with the title and a bit of text and just gonna let it go, right? But I also posted it on Instagram. Now, Instagram is the one that got us a lot of, I would say not a lot, not great deal that started to have a lot of people flocking to the channel or the Instagram account, no, but we generated some, like a few thousand views. That's the best. If you compare, on average, every video I get about less than 30 to 40 views on TikTok, about the same, about 30 to 50 views on YouTube, but I will get 3,000 views on Instagram. So based on my early experiment report, I just want to quickly share with you that if you are probably people like me who share this kind of like more like it's like professional content or something that is more niche, I would say you probably can start looking at Instagram as a platform, because I think people do people there are more into consuming. Instead of just entertainment-based content, they are ready to consume slightly more in-depth content, because these, first thing first, as we all know, that Facebook users, Instagram users, they are more matured, and there are more and more matured users going onto Instagram right now, especially Instagram. And of course, we have a mix of younger users who are on Instagram as well as on TikTok. But I guess for this kind of niche content, we can start looking at that. I just want to quickly do a quick report based on what I did. Actually started about a week more ago. So I'm going to continue doing it to finish posting my 30 videos, and I probably will come back and do another status report with you guys from time to time. All right, so that's Keaton. Thank you for joining and for the comment. And then another question I got was from Eloise. Eloise is an old friend, and Eloise posted this question on the 3 Marketer Show where Nisa talks about the Google Analytics. Guys, if you guys are interested in Google Analytics, my good friend Nisa, who is a data scientist from Singapore, is gonna do a I'll call this like a workshop, a course. Workshop, it's a live workshop, live training where he's gonna walk us through how to use Google Analytics 4, GA4. It's powerful. So Yeah, it's going to be a live course coming up in June. We are not sure about the date yet, but pay attention to my announcements from time to time to make sure that you catch his course. It's powerful. We're talking about the outline and all that. I was already so much mind blown. It's going to be fun. So Eloise was asking this question. She was asking, shall we implement GA tracking code in the website such as Wix in just one particular section as a whole? Or we need to install it on every pages on the whole website context? The answer is you don't need to. Just like when we are applying, installing Facebook Pixel, we are no longer, most of the time we are no longer installing the raw code anymore, the base code. All we need to do is just to put in the Pixel ID, Facebook Pixel ID at the section provided there where they will say, oh, Facebook Pixel ID, just place there and turn it on and the code is already applied. It's the same thing. In Wix and in fact, Google Analytics is actually more, they have longer history than Facebook Pixel. So the technology around this thing has been really well developed. So it's the same thing. You just need to go to the place and look for the place for you to put your Google Analytics ID, put it in there, and the system should be able to do it on your own. All right, they should be able to apply the pixel across the whole entire website, because usually on the technical terminology, we are installing this thing at the header section. Header is where, across website, there is this header code where usually is anonymous. It's actually not the word. It's universal. It applies to every pages that we create on the website, including your landing page, your usual website pages and all that. So every page would have that code installed. So that's how it works. So Eloise, you just need to think about how this is how Pixel is being installed. It's the same thing. You don't need to manually do it on every single web page because that will be a bit too much work. All right, so that's the quick answer to Eloise. Thanks for dropping by. And then we come back to the last question over here that we get from Emily. I'll just call you Emily. Now, Emily posted this comment on my video about how to set up Facebook Pixel for Shopee, because I really got that question. Jason, can I set up Facebook Pixel on my Shopee so that I can actually capture those who visit my Shopee store and did not buy? I want to do retargeting. I want to follow them, right? So actually, the short answer here is you can't. Because first thing first, Facebook Pixel can only be installed on platforms or websites that you own. What do you mean by you own? Which means you have access to the backend to install those codes that is needed to be installed on your website or on your server for the conversion API. So basically, if you don't have access, if you're selling on Shopee, of course you don't, because it's not owned by you. It's owned by Shopee, and you have no access whatsoever to the backend except the backend management of your store, which is not a backend technically. It's just a content management system for you to put up your content and stuff like that. So that's impossible unless you can do it with CPaaS access. Emily typed quite correctly, but it's CPAS without another S. So CPaaS stands for Collaborative Product Advertising Solution. Collaborative Product Advertising Solution. So basically, what's going to happen is you are going to use a catalog provided by Shopee. Now, technically, the catalog is not owned by you. It's owned by Shopee's Pixel. And that Pixel is also tied to an SDK, which is very similar to Conversion API. Pixel and SDK, they are tied together. And then basically, you will be actually getting reports from people who visit Shopee on the web version and people who visit Shopee on the mobile version. So they all combine into a catalog based on all the products that you have on your Shopee store. So that's CPaaS. So when they share this catalog with you, with your ads manager, then you'll be able to capture you. First thing first, you can retarget. That's the first benefit of having CPaaS, right? So you can actually target people who visit but did not buy, or even to target people who bought and stuff like that. And also at the same time, you can actually do, what else can you do with that? You can actually do attribution, which means when you're running ads on Facebook, in the ads manager, they are able to show you how many conversion you have gotten from the campaign itself. It will be attributed to the right campaign, so that because if you're not having CPaaS, when you run ads on Shopee for your Shopee store using Facebook ads, you'll be driving traffic, but after the person click and go out from Facebook, you lost the number. because you won't be able to track how many actually landed on your Shopee store, how many proceeded to add to cart and purchase and blah, blah, blah. So this can't happen. So if you don't have CPass, you won't be able to do that. But if you do have CPass, well, then you'll be able to do that. So that's how this is done. You're gonna find way to get CPass. As I've been talking about this, it's easiest to get in Thailand right now. I mean, in Southeast Asia region. Philippines, not as easy. You need to apply. I was told there are ways to apply right now. I'm not sure how effective or how fast would that be, but Malaysia, definitely you can apply. But I was told that it may not be as fast. And Singapore, I am not sure. I have not met a lot of Singapore Shopee sellers because I'm not sure whether they have a lot of different own platforms and whatnot. But I do have some from Indonesia was saying that, well, if you are big enough, you should be able to get it. And yeah, etc., etc. So different country, they have different policy. I think all you need to do is, well, if you're a new store, you got to definitely build some status or some fundamental, as in sales or traffic to your store first. Then you can actually ask around to your peers and see if there's any way that actually you can use to apply for CPass. So that's how things work for Shopee selling. All right. So yep, that's it. That's pretty much all the questions that I've received. Thank you so much for asking the questions. And for those who are listening or watching this live or the replay, well, thank you so much. And remember, if you have any questions regarding, related to Facebook advertising or digital marketing, feel free to pop the questions on my YouTube channel. Any videos, I'll capture them, or you can drop me a message on my Facebook page. And yeah, remember, I don't engage into commenting and messaging. I will only bring your questions back to my AMA on every Sunday night at 10 p.m. to answer them over live like this, and we can actually do interactions. And like anything is fun. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, and I will see you next Sunday. Good night. Bye bye.